Most people think Lightning Lane in Disney World means waking up at 6:59, staring at your phone all day, and still not getting on your favorite rides. But what if you could ride the best rides in Disney World without missing them, without stressing, without constantly refreshing, and without your eyes glued to your phone screen when you're supposed to be having an awesome Disney vacation? Today, I'm showing you the no-stress Lightning Lane strategy, the one that I use all the time to beat the system and still enjoy my day. And yes, this works whether you're staying at a Disney Resort hotel or not. Step 1, know the system. There are two kinds of Lightning Lanes. Lightning Lane is Disney's skip the line service. There are several ways you can access this, with MultiPass, which allows you to book up to 3 Lightning Lanes at a time, 3 of which will be in advance before you make your purchase. This one has a little bit of a tier system, so when you book in advance, you can book 1 Tier 1 and 2 Tier 2s. Every park has the tier system except Animal Kingdom, and it disappears once you start using Lightning Lane for the day. Single Pass is a paid skip the line option for bigger rides that aren't included with MultiPass. And then there's a super expensive Premier Pass, but this video isn't about that. If you want to learn more about that one, I've got videos for you. Step 2, know your window. Resort guests book at 7 a.m. 7 days before check-in for the entire length of your stay, up to 14 days. Everyone else, it's gonna be 3 days before your park day, but big loophole for you. There is a little bit of a date-based loophole for date-based tickets. This is something that could really help you and that no one really talks about. If you are buying a multi-day date-based ticket, your Lightning Lane eligibility actually starts at 7 a.m. 3 days before the first day your ticket is eligible, not the first day you plan to use it. When you select a multi-day date-based ticket, you select a window where the ticket is valid. When you are booking your date-based ticket, set your eligibility window as early as possible, even if you plan to use your date-based tickets towards the end of that. That means you'll be able to book Lightning Lanes at the beginning of that eligibility window, even if it's several days before. I'm just saying, big tip. I usually book my eligibility window as far forward because I'm like, just in case something happens. Nothing ever happens. I'm definitely using this. Step number 3, set priorities. Get everyone in your group to pick their top 3 must-dos for the day. Chances are some of them will overlap, and if you've got a big group, you can always have everyone just give you one. These are your mission targets when the time comes. I know everything sounds stressful so far. Really, the only thing that I can't help you avoid to have a great day is waking up at 7. Now, fun side note, there have been many cases where I do not wake up on the right day at 7 a.m. and do this booking, but I still get all the Lightning Lanes I want. And that's because you can do a lot with modifying, but you do need to wake up at 7 if you don't want to be eyes glued to your phone all day. And along with your set priorities, go ahead and have some backups in mind in case the ones you want to pick are gone. So just know in your head what 3 Lightning Lanes you're going to pick before 7 a.m. Otherwise, you'll be scrambling, freaking out, trying to get in there and get the best ones. Speaking of which, step number 4, book smart. As much as you can, book the earliest times available. So if you've got a couple priorities and you're trying to pick between them, pick the ones that have earlier times available. With an earlier time, once you use it in the park, that opens up your opportunity to get another Lightning Lane. So earlier is better because it means using more Lightning Lanes throughout the day. There is an exception here though for super high demand rides like Slinky Dog Dash or Tiana's Bayou Adventure. With these, if you see any time, you just want to go ahead and grab it, as they can become completely unavailable well before day of. That said, there are always exceptions if you modify, but you'll want to do this if you don't want that nose glued to your phone screen on the day of. But don't get discouraged if you don't get what you want. All is not lost, and you're still not going to stress out over it on day of. I promise. We'll talk about it. Step number 5, the burner ride trick. We've called it the burner ride, we've called it the passkey ride, whatever you want to call it. When you scan your Lightning Lane for your first Lightning Lane of the day, that gets rid of all of the pre-booking restrictions. So that tier list, out the window. It would mean you're allowed to then book more Tier 1s even if you already have one. So the way to use the burner ride trick is to use one of your 3 slots in advance to book the earliest Lightning Lane possible, even if it's for something that you wouldn't want to skip the line for because the line would be short, like Mad Tea Party, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, and stuff like that. Once you scan into that early slot on your park day, you can immediately book into another Tier 1, which is a great way to get the most of Lightning Lane. My favorite thing to do with a burner ride is to try to get a high demand burner ride. Sometimes this even means booking a second tier, Tier 1 as my burner ride. If I can get a 9 a.m. Space Mountain, then I might take the chance on trying to get Tiana's Bayou Adventure once I ride Space Mountain and have to do some modifying. But again, it's all about your priorities. Try not to book a lightning lane for a ride that you just don't want to ride. But the burner ride trick is a great way if you have multiple tier 1s in your priority list. Chapter 2, the morning moves. Resort guests, listen up. You've got early entry. You need to make the most of that and use early entry to rope drop an attraction. That means you won't need to use one of your lightning lane slots on this attraction. So plan ahead, have in your mind what attraction you're going to head to for rope drop. You get 30 minutes of early entry into the park of your choice, and not every attraction is open, so make sure you do your research in advance to find out which one is worth heading straight to. Non-resort guests, you are not exempt from this tip either. You need to rope drop as well. If possible, rope drop rides that were not available for early entry. But even if you don't have any good options for that, still go ahead and pick something popular and rope drop it. If you head straight to that thing right when the park opens, you'll likely end up with a shorter wait than that ride will offer all day. And again, that frees up the lightning lane slot for something super popular. Start with rope drop and then head to your burner attraction. Don't feel like you need to rush through any of this. Just get your burner used as soon as possible so that you can start idly booking the next lightning lanes you want. And I know what you're thinking, Quincy, you've asked me to get up early twice. I get it. I'm a night person. With Disney World, it's not so much a vacation as it is a trip. And my recommendation for anyone going to Disney World is to wake up early, take a midday break back at the hotel, and stay out late. Take a nap that midday, get out of the heat, get out of the crowds, and go when the parks are the coolest and the least crowded, which is in the morning and the evening. But wait, if you are a night person like me, you may also want to use the midnight hack. At exactly 12 a.m. on your park day, you can start to modify your lightning lanes to overlap with dining reservations and other lightning lanes. This isn't an option before that point. It will not give you availability for times that overlap with your other plans. It's trying to be helpful, it's kind of limiting. But at 12 a.m. on your park day, that goes away. So that's when you can start kind of overlapping. Maybe refresh for a few times if you're up then. Not a must, but can make your park day even less stressful. So we've made it to midday. Our morning's gone great, and now it's where things get spicy. It's where typically you hear about lightning lane, your nose is glued to your phone screen, you're refreshing. You can't stop, you can't talk to your family, you can't look Mickey Mouse in the eyes, everything's awful. Not so. Not with our strategy. You want to modify, yes, you do. Modifying is the refreshing, it's how you get better times than you already had. People are canceling lightning lanes all the time, and you never know when you might get a better time. But you don't want to obsess. A lot of times in our lightning lane challenges or ride challenges, you see us obsessing. It's not fun. I can speak from experience. On our perfect day videos, and also when I go to the park for fun, I do not obsess about modifying. If I'm bored and was gonna scroll on Instagram anyway because I've been standing in a 30-minute line, I might go modify instead. But other than that, I don't really think about how I need to refresh my lightning lanes. And you shouldn't either. Don't refresh every 5 seconds. Use natural breaks that happen in your park day. You might find yourself bored waiting in line or waiting for food. You might find yourself too tired to talk to your family while you're sitting and eating lunch, or you might need a little bit of a cool off in the shade. These are all great times to get refreshing without actually interrupting any active use of your park day, which ultimately should be about spending time with the friends and family you chose to go with. And now, the Genie hack. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking,
Quincy, Genie's gone.
No, Genie Plus is gone. Disney Genie is very much still here. It is a plan your day tool. It's free in the My Disney Experience app. I don't recommend using it to plan your day. It makes weird decisions. You use your brain to plan your day. I promise you're better than the Genie, especially if you're here watching this video. You seem on top of things. But you can use Disney Genie in the app to select your ride priorities for the day. Now you can only select a handful at a time, but what this does is it will move those rides to the top of your tip board where you can see wait times and lightning lane availability, and to the top of your modify screen. This makes it super easy that if you are looking for a better time for Peter Pan and Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Winnie the Pooh, when you refresh, those are the 3 rides you'll be looking at on a modify screen instead of having to scroll all the way to them in alphabetical order. It makes it a lot easier to grab those quickly and so that you spend a little bit less time trying to modify because you have more success. Another little trick that can make you more successful at modifying, say you're trying to modify your Winnie the Pooh lightning lane to a Peter Pan lightning lane. If you see a time pop up for Peter Pan, go ahead and tap it, even if it's not a good time. Once you're in the next screen, you can just keep tapping show more times and closing it and open and closing that drawer, and it might pop up with a better time. which can help you grab it faster than anybody else who might be looking. But again, we're not stressing about any of this because ultimately we're using Lightning Lane to season into our Disney day instead of it being the backbone of it. Here's a tip: clump your rides together. And I mean that physically. Try not to book yourself a Lightning Lane for Jungle Cruise and Space Mountain at exactly the same time. You'll find yourself zigzagging all around the park, and the time that you spend walking between all these places might end up taking about as long as the extra time a standby line might have taken you in many cases. This has happened to me. So just because you have Lightning Lane does not mean you have to zigzag all day long. Sure, if you're trying to get every single Lightning Lane and make the most of the system, that might be true. But if you're not trying to do that, if you've made your list of priorities and you know what you care about most, try to stick to Lightning Lanes that will be kind of all in the same area at the same time, so you don't find yourself with lots of dead time where you are walking thousands of steps. And another thing to note is if you do accidentally end up with rides that are super far apart from one another at the same time, you don't necessarily have to rush 1,000 steps to get there because of the grace periods. So the official grace periods for Lightning Lanes is 5 minutes before and 15 minutes after. Now the 5 minutes before is strict, but for Lightning Lanes for any rides, that 15 minutes after is not strict. So as long as you scan in 1 hour and 59 minutes after your Lightning Lane ends, you are gonna turn green and get to go through. It's great. We do it all the time. We've tested it. Helps you stack Lightning Lanes, but that's a more stressful tactic. We're going no stress today, no stress. Thank everything the sun is starting to go down, except it's probably not because the sun stays up for a really long time here in Orlando. But the point is, it's evening. We've made it through a lot of the day. By evening, your weights are going to start to drop. So this is a time to stop obsessing so much over Lightning Lane, save it for the big wait time offenders, and start to use standby a bit when those weights start to go down. A rule that I like to use is I'll set the maximum weight that I'm willing to wait for something, and if a ride is under that, hop in line. Because the theming can be awesome in some of the queues, and Lightning Lane can skip that, and it can mean some great bonding time with your family. I also will literally bring headphones and listen to podcasts. Now, afternoon and evening is also when it comes time to play the weather gambit. Basically, when there is lightning in the area, outdoor attractions will close around Disney World. Now, what happens when you have a Lightning Lane for these attractions is you get an experience redemption, except it allows you to use it at any time and frees up your Lightning Lane slot. It's also usable for a long list of attractions instead of just the one you booked it for, which means if you've tried a couple of times to get a Winnie the Pooh Lightning Lane with no luck and Dumbo goes down during your Lightning Lane window, you get that experience redemption, and you can rebook Dumbo for later in the night because it's still available and go use your experience redemption on Winnie the Pooh. These come with a long list of the attractions that they can be used for, so getting those is actually a good thing. And I call it a gambit and a scam and a con because you can kind of know, particularly if you're in Disney World during the summer, during hurricane season, that there's going to be lightning in the afternoon. It happens pretty much every day here, kind of the thing in Florida. So if you see on your radar that weather's coming in or you start to feel it in the air, see it in the skies, book a Lightning Lane for an outdoor attraction. You just might end up with an experience redemption for doing it. Bit of a gambit. Works a lot of the time, a lot more than you'd think it would work. It works. And with those tips, you find yourself happily ever after watching Happily Ever After in Magic Kingdom, which means you've successfully had a no-stress Lightning Lane day. You've taken it a little easier, you've kept your nose out of your phone, you've stayed present in Disney World, you've experienced the sights, the sounds, and spending time with your friends and family. That is the no-stress Lightning Lane strategy, my friends. Fewer screen time, less running, and a lot more fun. If you're still here, drop this secret phrase in the comments so I know you made it all the way. And don't forget to subscribe. We upload tips, info, games, and more from Disney World and beyond all week. Why? Because we're serious about fun here. I'll see you next time.